Welcome to a very special Press Start to Join, a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network powered by ETB. This is episode 228, and I'm Alan.
I'm Josh. Today we're doing what we're calling a live episode because we're doing something we've never done before.
Minimal edits. Woo!
Yeah, like egregious problems will be changed, and I'm going to throw the intro jingle in, but other than that, we're doing this in one shot. We've never done it before.
This is our 2018 year in review, because this is our last episode of 2018. So here's a look back at all the cool stuff we've done, the cool people that have helped support us, and then we will see y'all back in January.
Speaking of cool people, thanks to Jen, one of our longtime fans, for suggesting this. Just contact us with any ideas, and we'll probably do it.
Yeah, definitely. We're very impressionable that way.
Right, I'm going to make that the intro song.
Okay. So the very first episode of this year was 172, released on January 6th.
We called it Password, all lower caps.
Yeah, because the worst passwords of 2017 list was released with superstars like 123456, Password, 1234567 and of course, who can forget 123456789?
Still awful.
Back in the day, Apple was taking their first hit on that phone throttling controversy, which led to discounted battery replacements through the end of this year. So, I mean, if you haven't done it yet, why not now? Microsoft shut down their Kinect once and for all. And the world fell in love with the Porgs from The Last Jedi, which were a delightful cover-up for the protected puffins on the island they used for filming.
Yeah, and Blaze was added to Heroes of the Storm.
Ooh, cool. And on this episode, I recommended a book, Stone Skin, by K.B. Spangler.
And Alan and I got all the same information, but filed it very differently, so I'm just going to do my recommendations at the end.
Yeah, we really didn't consult each other during the prep for this episode, so that just makes our idea of doing it pseudo-live all that more dumb and fun, hopefully entertaining.
Hopefully.
Episode 173, we had Blade introducing their Shadow Cloud gaming service, giving people access to top-tier gaming computers through an app for a monthly fee.
And that's why we called it Frames or Freedom.
Ooh. We also got our first glimpse of the Facebook portal, which seemed like a terrible idea.
Oh, yeah.
And our friends over at the station got a release date, February 20th. It was very cool to see a finished product after talking to Kevin and Dave, the creative director and executive producer, back in episode 101.
That's awesome.
And on this one, I recommended Into the Drowning Deep, another book by Mira Grant. Episode 174, we talked about BitConnect scamming people out of their bitcoins left and right with their one-way money exchange.
Yeah.
YouTube changed up the requirements for monetization and made it a lot harder for small channels to support themselves. Street Fighter Arcade Edition turned Street Fighter V into a full, meaningful release outside of tournament circles. And we got our first look at the Nintendo Labo, the cardboard game construction kit with a surprising amount of versatility.
And that's probably how I came up with the title name La Vida Labo.
I like you chiming in afterwards, just slotting in how we decided on the title. I like
Also, we're already on 174, right?
Yep.
Mecha Storm hit Heroes of the Storm, where Diablo, Rhaegar, and Abathur got mech-themed skins, and they were awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Those were very cool skins. And my recommendation this week was Black Mirror on Netflix. For 175, OnePlus's payment page was hacked, exposing up to 40,000 users to potential credit card fraud. And China successfully cloned a pair of macaques using the same process that was used for Dolly the sheep.
We must have talked about hamburgers because we called it Restoring Whopper Freedom.
Oh, yeah, and Burger King did their ad about net neutrality where they had like fast lanes and you paid extra to get your food faster.
And on Heroes of the Storm, Maeve was announced.
Cool. And on this one, I recommended Experience Points, a local video game jazz band.
You did?
Yeah, that's what my notes said.
Wow.
Maybe I stole it. I don't know.
Maybe. Because it says I recommended it 175. Wow.
Well, there can be only one. Moving on to episode 176, we covered the history of the Super Mario franchise.
Yes, and we have all the stats for those coming at the end of the episode, so stay tuned.
Alrighty. 177, Windows Defender starts protecting against scareware that tries to trick people into installing coercive fake antiviruses and registry cleaners. San Francisco...
No, and the boring flamethrower must have came out, because that's what we called it, 177.
Oh, yeah. That's coming. San Francisco announced their plan to expunge or reduce thousands of marijuana convictions after cannabis was made legal. Washington's Attorney General warned everyone about Comcast's predatory service protection plan that wasn't and isn't. And Elon Musk convinced a bunch of people to buy a glorified roofing torch in an airsoft rifle body.
Yeah.
On this one, I recommended the Adventure Zone mini arcs. From their podcast, they did a bunch of little samplers of different campaigns. Very cool. 178, Elon Musk is in the news again because he hit customs issues trying to ship boxes labeled flamethrower around the world. Who knew? Apple introduced a new iOS, including battery health features to address those throttling concerns from back in 172. And they were also forced by new cloud computing regulations to move all their Chinese iCloud accounts into government-owned facilities.
Yeah.
So we warned everyone to bail on their Chinese iCloud accounts if possible. Thanks to some outdated legislation, police in the US got warrantless access to data from autonomous cars, and people launched a class action lawsuit against a group of YouTube personalities that advocated for BitConnect, that thing we said was a scam back in January.
Yeah.
And on this one, I recommended Monster Hunter World on the PS4.
And that episode was faster and less secure.
Yep, that was the Chinese iCloud. Because they would get improved access, but so does the government. 179 had researchers finding a huge vulnerability in Skype that Microsoft just didn't have any interest in fixing. They're just like, yeah, it's too hard. Next version, maybe. Google was smacked with a class action lawsuit over the Pixel's microphone and a faulty solder joint. Facebook got into the VPN game, which would give them access to literally all of your internet traffic and go against kind of the very point of a VPN.
Yeah.
And news and opinion site Salon decided that if you're using an ad blocker, then you have to let them run a cryptojacker in your browser, using your processor power to mine cryptocurrency.
Salon.
I mean, it's an interesting idea, but wow, did it heat up some computers.
And we called it, But Are They Muppets? I think I brought up Sesame Street that episode.
Yeah, we had a debate on if the Sesame Street characters are in fact Muppets. And I recommended Halt and Catch Fire on Netflix. And then episode 180, we learned that Sesame Street puppets are officially licensed Muppets, agreeing with 73% of people in our Twitter poll.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are Muppets. The episode title.
Flight Sim Labs, developers that supported Microsoft Flight Sim and some professional flight trainers, admitted to embedding malware that pulls personal data from Google Chrome as an anti-piracy tactic.
It's crazy.
Which, yeah, it seems questionable in, like, legally wise. Yeah, not good. The Anchor app stepped up as a potential one-stop shop for podcast production. And after the emergency SOS feature was introduced on iPhones, repair centers accidentally began flooding 911 centers with accidental calls.
Right. All this stuff, like, it's been a busy year.
No kidding. And this is just the end of February now. And I recommended Black Panther, because that was just such a good movie.
We both recommended it.
There can be only one!
No, it's literally in my column that says we both recommend.
Fine. And 181 had Kylie Jenner taking Snapchat's market value down by 1.3 billion with a single tweet.
Yeah, wow.
Chinese video sharing site Weibo blocked key phrases to stop citizens from disagreeing with President Xi Jinping, like I disagree, lifelong rule, and Animal Farm.
Must have been why that episode is called Redacted Farm.
Sony accidentally released the full Yakuza 6 game for download instead of their planned demo version.
Awesome.
And HaveIBeenPwned.com came out with either a great tool to see if your password is seen in hacker dumps, or an even better tool for adding to those very same hacker dumps. And on this one, I recommended the Parasitology trilogy of books by Mira Grant.
181, the Enforcer skin pack, came to Heroes of the Storm, giving SWAT-like outfits to Joanna, Greymane, and Lieutenant Morales.
Fancy. In 182, we talked about Robotech's just train wreck of a Kickstarter continuing to hit issues like Sideshow Bob hits rakes. They're just out of money and unable to release any meaningful rewards. Nailed it. Oculus Rifts around the world stopped working for a short time due to a software certificate glitch. And the devs behind Inside and Limbo teamed up with I Am 8-Bit and Real Doll for a special collector's edition that we still don't know what it is.
What?
But I guess it's not delivered yet or something, but I cannot find a single thing on the internet of what the hell Real Doll put together for this collector's edition. But
also,
like I said...
Yep. You're talking.
But like I said the first time, Polygon said it best where if what is in that box is not intentionally fuckable, someone has messed up.
Then, on my Smash Bros. Updates list, we called the episode Things to Come because Smash Bros. Was teased at the end of a Nintendo Direct, having the Squidlings being confirmed added, with them seeing the Smash logo and an impending silhouette of the character roster.
Right, I remember that now. That was cool.
Yeah, I got chills. I'm getting chills thinking about it.
And my recommendation that week was The Demon Cycle of books by Peter V. Brett. More books. Who would have thought? In episode 183, we had Fortnite Battle Royale hitting mobile to the annoyance of educators everywhere.
Yeah.
Former Alberta Podcast Network member Future Chat dug into the details on exactly why Soylent had to leave Canada, and they're still not back, and it breaks my heart every time I have to make myself a sandwich for lunch.
And also, I tweeted that I was laying in bed thinking about Soylent, to which they replied to my tweet with the Katniss doing the,
the
three-finger kiss salute, and I was like, oh my god. oh my god.
This is the week that Twitch Prime started giving out free games. Although, big caveat, you do need a live internet connection and the Twitch app to be able to play them.
Oof.
That bit me when I moved and didn't have internet for a couple of weeks. Oh, and this was the first appearance of the Grey Key, just appearing out of nowhere to brute force attack iPhone encryption for law enforcement agencies who are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars.
Which I very well predicted it being versioned out quite quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Apple does not take security lying down.
For whatever reason, we called that episode Oops. No, we called it No Rights. Oops, never mind. Yeah, must be something else. Go back and listen to it. Find out why.
I know I might. And on that episode, I recommended The Armored Saint by Mike Cole. It was another book.
I used that recommendation to get a gift for my brother-in-law.
Such a good book. In 184, we saw Rick and Morty and Run the Jewels teaming up for the Oh Mama music video, and it was just fantastic. I needed to include that as a highlight because of how good that video is.
Pretty cool.
And Facebook continued its reign as one of the most untrustworthy companies online that everyone still gives data to for some reason. This time related to Cambridge Analytica and voter manipulation in the American election. Battlefront 2 got a 2.0 release, revamping the predatory loot boxes with a slightly more reasonable version. And Epic Games shut down their MOBA Paragon, but they did release millions of dollars of game assets completely free for anyone else using the Unreal Engine.
I found a section I forgot about called Episodes of Note. So when you're done this, I'll cover the ones you already covered.
Cool. On this one, I recommended Duolingo because I was in the process of learning German. Pretty fun.
Nice. Yeah. So I have an episodes and notes section that I forgot to bring up. 178, The Faster and Less Secure. I was sick, so it was an Alan solo episode.
Oh, I did not remember that. Cool, okay.
181, Redacted Farm. Thank you to Vanilla Bean Puff for fan art of us as Bert and Ernie. And
oh my god, yes, that's what started the Muppet conversation.
Yep, it inspired me to make the Puppet Buddies shirt design, which is still one of my favorites.
Oh, it's so great.
And then we called 184 Little Gremlins for whatever reason.
It's always interesting to look back.
Sometimes it's like, right, yeah, that was hilarious. And most of the times it's, what?
Yeah. Where the hell did you get that? Oh, whatever.
Muppets make sense now.
Yeah. And 185 was a history of the Virtua Fighter franchise.
I brought that one out of nowhere.
Yeah, no kidding. It was an interesting one, though. 186 saw Facebook, Google, and Apple all starting to offer data downloads of all the information they have on you. Apple has, very little, and Facebook has a dossier, a full dossier.
We called it Download Your Past, so that makes a lot of sense.
There was a new app, ChatWatch, that if you pay the price, it gives users the ability to stalk their friends via WhatsApp online and offline statuses.
Wow, that's pretty creepy. Also,
Yeah.
Phoenix was added to Heroes of the Storm.
Ooh. And an Apple Watch became decisive evidence in an Australian murder trial. So that was cool. It managed to narrow down the time of death to a 7-minute window.
186 has some other interesting things. We gave shirt updates. Our design Let's Argue About Star Wars was released on our TeePublic site.
Nice.
And Vanilla Bean Puff got her free shirt for inspiring me to make that design from her fan art.
Woo.
So thanks so much, Bean Puff. Hope you're still listening.
And on this episode, I recommended Fandelites, the Animorphs fan podcast that is still going strong, and it's a good one. For 187, we saw Panera Bread leaving private data for millions of customers, just kind of vulnerable and out there for 8 months. But they defended themselves, saying that only 10,000 were known to have been affected. So that's something. And Pokemon Go Fest ended up costing Niantic an extra $1.58 million due to a class action lawsuit from the attendees. And this one, I had a really boring recommendation of just using a different DNS server for your home network. And if you don't know what that means, probably didn't use it.
We called that episode Hyper Hammer.
In 188, Facebook was called out for sending a doctor to hospitals asking them to share patient info so they could combine that with other Facebook profile data because reasons. Twitter basically broke a bunch of third-party apps in a bid to force users onto their official platform. And Billy Mitchell, the villain of The King of Kong, was found to have posted fraudulent records and was summarily stripped of all of his Twin Galaxy leaderboard placements.
Wow, yeah. He was the villain.
Yep. And in this one, I recommended not 1, not 3, but 6 books. The Shadow Ops and Reawakening trilogies by Mike Cole.
Damn. That was Emulated Consequences.
Oh yeah, because he was using hardware emulation instead of an actual arcade cabinet.
Yep.
Clever.
Got him.
In 189, Russia started building their very own Great Firewall after Telegram refused to hand over a universal access key to all their chats.
Which was nice. Thanks.
Yeah, it's always good to see companies caring about privacy at all. Minecraft users were hit with a nasty malware from downloading skins straight from Mojang. And spurred on by their competition with Fortnite, PUBG released a new deathmatch-style game mode called War.
And I believe you recommended putting an LED bulb in your fridge because we called it Pro Fridge Tip.
My actual recommendation was Happy Death Day.
Oh, so the fridge tip must have been the top of the episode. I'm
guessing so. Yeah, I don't know. I remember writing that down somewhere, but I can't find it. So, yeah, I guess that's what happened. Oh, no, I lost myself in the notes. Scrolling too much. I found it. Okay.
Perfect.
In episode 190, we talked about the history of indie games. That was a really cool one.
I found a Red Bull article that covered a bunch of indie games, and I was interested in all of them enough. I referenced the article and then covered all those games.
Cool. And then 191, straight out of Black Mirror, China announced plans to give citizens a personal behavior score and restrict travel based on those scores.
Yeah.
To force them into being good citizens of the government, and just, it's bad. It's a bad. They did it bad. And E. coli was found on romaine lettuce in the US and Canada. That may sound familiar. This was back in April.
Yeah.
Quantic Dream sued some French media outlets over articles on Quantic's toxic work conditions. And an e-waste activist in California was sent to prison for making copies of free driver disc images to help people keep their old PCs going.
Yeah. Wow, that's still crazy.
Yeah, these are free downloads that the companies were offering on their website, but because he had the audacity to take those downloads, burn them to a CD, and hand them out for free, he went to jail because prosecutors decided they were worth $700,000 a pop.
We must have also talked about the new God of War, because 191 is square to boy!
Yep, that was my recommendation this week. God of War. And actually, subsequently, I ended up using God of War in a talk about masculinity and geek culture at the Edmonton Wolfpack, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah, and that was really, really good.
Thanks, man.
And since we're keeping this show on the road, ATB knows that being an entrepreneur and business owner has its challenges. That's why they've created their Entrepreneur Centers. So whether you're dreaming, building, or growing, you can access a powerful set of tools to help your business and personal finances grow together. With locations in Edmonton, Calgary, and Lethbridge, and monthly pop-ups across the province, it's just one more way ATB is helping to reinvent banking. Visit atbentrepreneurscenter.com to find the location closest to you. That's a live read, everyone. Boom.
Nailed it. In episode 192, Twitter announced that they've been accidentally storing passwords in a log file before they're encrypted.
Oops.
So that was less than great. The New Yorker decided to complain that Avengers Infinity War was built on 10 years of movies and not set up for people that don't know the characters or their motivations. Which is just, that's a hell of a hot take there, New Yorker. And one of my favorites, Siri temporarily had a glitch that included, as the second definition for the word mother, quote, short for motherfucker.
Wow.
Yep.
I guess straight. Yeah.
It's straight out of Oxford Dictionary. It's just it wasn't paying attention to the vulgar tag.
I also must have reviewed that Harry Potter game where it's a prequel to the Harry Potter story, because the 192 is titled Escape is Freemium.
Oh, yeah, because the Harry Potter mobile game had some bold choices when it came to their freemium energy.
Yeah. If you want to finish this task, you can spend energy to get your points back, or you can wait.
Spend 8 hours watching your character get strangled by a plant.
Whoa, I would set timers on my Google Home and then sleep the phone.
I mean, it depends on what you're into, man.
It was too much babysitting, so I dropped that game like a hot mandrake. That's a thing from it.
Yeah, that's a Harry Potter word. You got it. Yeah. And my recommendation this week was User, a great graphic novel by Devin Grayson. In 193, Georgia almost passed knee-jerk legislation to block accessing a computer or network, quote, without authority. Without really defining what that authority is. So that would have been fun to enforce, I'll bet.
Having a special belt buckle, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. And Steam Link app came out for Android, allowing you to stream your games from your PC, but we still have yet to see it over on iOS. So
I downloaded it and have never opened it.
Well, and there's very certain conditions, like your computer needs to be plugged in and your phone needs to be on a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and there's a lot of things piled on top where it's like, especially in your place where the computer's right there by the living room, just play on that.
Yeah. My knee bumps the cabinet. I don't like it.
Fair enough. And my recommendation this week was This Is America by Childish Gambino.
Right.
Such a good music video.
I embedded the music video in our blog post.
Nice.
I forget what happened, but 193 is titled "The Press Start to Join Online Podcast Service."
Oh, I think we were ripping on Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch Online something.
Yeah.
Like it had a terrible name. In episode 194, we talked about local comic and bookstore variant edition having a rough time after being targeted by the Comicsgate crowd. Mm-hmm. Which is just a group of just terrible people.
Which the owner of, one of the owners of variant edition, Brandon, talked about in his Wolfpack talk the same day you did about Comicsgate.
That was another really good one. And actually, not to leave her out, Sylvia Douglas of Lady Geeks Unite was also there for being... to talk about being a woman in geek culture and gatekeeping and all that stuff. And that was another really interesting talk.
Yeah, that's why I started hashtag don't be a gatekeeper, be a hashtag keymaster.
I like it.
Subtle Ghostbusters reference.
Yeah. Stardew Valley was announced for PS Vita at the same time that Sony announced the end of Vita physical game production. So highs and lows for the Vita crowd. Microsoft released their Xbox Adaptive Controller, which is just a really impressive feat of accessible tech. Like, a lot of thought went into this. Even the packaging is accessible. You don't need, like, knives or fingernails or anything to get into it. And the European Union's new General Data Protection Regulation normalized privacy laws across Europe and caused a ton of emails to be sent to users of basically any service that touches Europe.
And in Heroes of the Storm, we had Nexomania. Lunara, Sonya, Garrosh, Diablo, ETC, and Karazim got Mexican wrestling-inspired skins.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. I like that.
The Diablo one I still use. It's awesome.
My recommendation that week was Delicious in Dungeon, also known as Dungeon Meshi. Just a really great manga.
And I think that's when we used Vanilla Bean Puff's recommendation to call it Techie Tidbits.
I do believe you are right.
Because it is Techie Tidbit time for our episode name.
It used to be the Remainders of the Week, which just didn't feel right, but I really like the tidbits. In 195, through a series of crazy misunderstandings, an Amazon Echo sent the audio of a user's private conversation to a random person on their contact list.
Wow. And then I named the episode New and Exciting Uber Sabotage.
TeenSafe, ironically, had a large data breach, including both parent and child information. Man-children all over the internet were outraged to see a woman on the cover of Battlefield 5.
Oh, wow.
Warhammer 40k announced a new series of books coming out for ages 8 to 12, focusing on the wonders of the galaxy and sweeping the blood and skulls under the rug. And American courts ruled that being blocked by Donald Trump on Twitter is unconstitutional.
Yeah, got him.
And that one I recommended Deadpool 2, which is just a hell of a fun movie.
Oh, yeah. And then 196, I can do this one because it's quick. We did our history of God of War, and I didn't spoil the new game. So if you still want to play the new game, that'll give you everything you need to know about the franchise.
Yeah, and well, it gives you options because I think I said this at the time too.
Yeah.
You can either come at it as Kratos with the knowledge of his past, or as his son with just like fresh new experience.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. On to 197. I think we're like halfway there. Fallout 76 was announced, and the trailer was immediately picked through for every possible hint about the content.
Oh, yeah.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Corporation decided to sue Epic Games over Fortnite infringing on the Battle Royale genre. Which is Bold choice there, PUBG. And Atari crashed Indiegogo with their attempt at the Nintendo Classic Console formula. In that one, I recommended Carrot Weather, just a solid weather reporting app for iPhone.
The episode was called From Free to Overpriced.
I wonder what we were talking about there.
Yeah, mysteries.
Yeah. Why not go back and have a listen? Episode 198 had Mezco Toys pulling a bait and switch with the Hellraiser puzzle blocks, a Rubik-style cube not to be confused with the puzzle box from the movies. And my recommendation that week was FTL Y'all on Kickstarter. Just a really cool comic anthology about a world where a $200 easily built faster-than-light travel is available.
That is cool. We were really snarky with our episode title. Full podcast with bonus regular content.
Yeah, I think that's one where Battlefield 5's release dates were announced, and it's like if you pay for premium, you get it early. And yeah, I think that might be that one.
Also in Heroes of the Storm, Ural was announced, and Alterac Pass was shown off as a map.
Oh yeah, both very fun. Mm-hmm. In 199, E3 happened, and we talked about all the games they announced, like Spider-Man and Fallout 76, those things that we've been playing for a while now. So
I have a lot for this episode.
Okay, all yours.
Wait. This is the wrong one, I guess. It's 209. All right, dyslexic Josh is wrong.
No worries.
I don't have a lot for this. I have none.
Okay. Well, on this one, I recommended Can't Pay Will Take It Away on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. I gotta watch that.
On our 200th episode in June 23rd, we talked about the journey so far and the road ahead. And that was a really cool just discussion about Presto to Join in general.
Took questions from fans, and we also made a Spotify playlist.
And a quiz to see if you can guess our musical tastes. Spoiler, they're weird.
They're weird. So listen to the playlist, and when you go to our, I think it's ps2j.com/
ps2jshow.com.
ps2jshow.com/quiz. It takes you right there, and it pulls a random assortment from the playlist we made, so you're not going to get the same quiz every time.
Fancy.
And screenshot us when you win.
Yeah. Or like just cheat and then play it until you win, and then screenshot that for internet points. Which
is why I made it. It only outputs so many questions, so it's always pulling from a bigger pool. I'm sneaky.
In episode 201, we talked about the history of Halo in the Bungie era.
Oh yeah, that was a long time coming, that episode, I think.
Definitely. In 202, PUBG quietly backed down from that lawsuit against Epic Games.
Oh, really?
I think they realized that Battle Royale isn't trademarked or copyrighted or anything, and you can just kind of like make whatever game you want like that.
And that they based it on a mod that they modified.
No kidding. Apple and Samsung finally ended their legal battle over the Galaxy S i9000 copying the design of the iPhone 3GS. Just to give you an idea of how old these phones are at this point. This is June 30th of this year. That lawsuit finally finished. And Disney created some really cool-looking autonomous robotic stunt doubles that can do neat maneuvers like off trapezes in the air, flips and poses, and it's very cool.
And I think Hammond for Overwatch was announced because the episode is called Came in Like a Hamster?
And in this one, I recommended self-care because you're the only you we've got, so take care of yourself.
Totally. Whenever someone says they need to cancel because they're not feeling well, it's like, totally.
Yeah, you got to do you first.
If someone's upset you're canceling because you're not feeling well, then they're not worth being your friend, I guess. Sorry.
You got to put your oxygen mask on first before helping others.
Oh, yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah. Episode 203 had us talking about Games Workshop introducing Kill Team, a smaller scale battle aiming to have more personality.
Must have been the beginning of the month because it's called Prime Time for free games. Sounds like we did a big free game announcement.
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't been covering the free games in this because they're not free at this point, but there's been a lot through the year. And Netflix cut their premium tier in half and called the new piece Ultra with a higher price tag for more simultaneous streams. Because they can. My recommendation this week was The Good Place, both the TV show and the podcast.
I'm really starting to think I messed up on that Smash Bros. Thing.
Oh?
It was just I copy and pasted my predictions. That's all.
Oh, okay.
It must have been 199 E3 Ultimate. Oh well.
Yeah, E3 was 199, yes.
Basically, I said I wanted to see Shantae, Shovel Knight, Solaire of Astoria, Dovahkiin, and Kid Link to have Majora's Mask-like transformations. We got Kid Link, cool. And Shantae is a spirit.
Majora's Mask does not get enough love.
No.
Okay, back on the train here. Episode 204, we got our first peek at the new Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and it looks so good. And it continues to look so good, and I need it to come out now. And Minecraft brought the briny deep with the update Aquatic.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
And in this one, I recommended the Jean Laflambeur trilogy by Henu Rajaniemi. That's a hard name to pronounce.
And we called 204 Gaming Franchise Debate.
Interesting. What franchises were we debating?
Not sure.
Raising questions.
That are easily answered by listening to our past episodes.
Okay. Fan Collective, that is your homework. Every time we've been like, why did we name the episode that? If you could just like listen to the episodes, take notes, and then like come at us on Twitter, Facebook, something, that'd be fantastic.
I'm willing to defend or deny anything I've already said.
In episode 205, Aliens Colonial Marines was vastly improved by correcting a typo.
And thus the episode named Tethered.
Yes, it was. And a burglar had to call 911 after breaking into an escape room business and getting trapped. And DC introduced their new Grimdark Titans series, which I really think they're leaning too hard into the fuck Batman, here's some blood angle, but it could be worth a watch. And this one had me recommending The Adventure Zone Here There Be Gerblins graphic novel.
And then 206 was another history episode where it's Halo with the 343 era of games.
Yeah, and we also had a... Oh.
Yeah, followed up by a bonus episode. Past host of the show, Mike, now Foam Forge Cosplay, did a really nice verbal essay for me, and I edited it into an episode and made it a bonus.
Yeah, it was a really interesting one.
And as of recording, I tweeted out that bonus episode he did for us is our third best episode downloaded this year.
Well, congratulations and thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 207, we saw another dumb criminal, this time a burglar in California breaking into a house to steal their internet by waking the owners up and asking them for the Wi-Fi password.
Wow, that's like the first millennial crime we've ever covered.
Batman the Animated Series was remastered into a fancy new Blu-ray package. And No Man's Sky finally started living up to the hype with new updates and free content.
And I must have recommended Full Metal Alchemist because that episode is called Full Metal Heart.
And I recommended Slay the Spire.
Because I just finished watching Full Metal Alchemist for the first time in my life.
Yeah, and you watched the right one. I'm so happy.
Yay.
Brotherhood is so good. The other one is also good, but more confusing.
But Netflix dropped the ball on Bleach. I've only seen like the first 2 seasons or something. Because that's all they have.
They only have 2 seasons of Bleach? That thing's been going for like 10 years.
Yep. The last thing I saw of Bleach was they're flying back home, and Green Hat Guy's like, "Oh, you done?" And then Ichigo's like, "Nah," and then jumps away.
Well, yeah, you have like 15 more years of content to catch up with, so better get on that.
Great.
Episode 208 saw Patreon making some sleazy changes to their credit card processor, causing a bunch of charges to be flagged as fraud.
All right.
And we are officially, I think we're still living in the thing, and just they've infiltrated society now, because scientists found colonies of roundworms that had been frozen for 30,000 plus years that came back to life when they were thawed out.
Oh boy.
Exciting and terrifying.
And free game announcements, because it's super free games.
Nice. And on this one, I recommended Supernatural. Just a solid series all around. In 209, Facebook, unsatisfied with just the sheer amount of information they already have, started looking to get access to your banking information as well. So they want to know everything about you so they can sell that information and make more of all the monies. Marvel and IMAX teamed up for a festival of all 20 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, and we got a ton of new info on Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, Simon, King K. Rool were announced, and they covered a lot of the features, like the distinction of Echo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I must have been playing catch-up, because I called it a PS2J Smash Indirect.
Well, I think this is the one where they actually had a Nintendo Direct about Smash.
Yeah, like right after the Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm. And on this one, I recommended the podcast Lore.
Yes. Wait, after I recommended it? To you? Personally? Like,
probably.
Person to person? Probably, yeah.
So. Yeah, that sounds right.
If that's after Hannah's wedding, I was toting Lore around everyone.
August 18th.
Yeah?
You don't even know when your own sister was married? You monster.
No. I was there.
Yeah, me too. I don't
know
when it was either, so. It was a fun wedding.
Yeah, good job.
Anyway, on to episode 210. The 20-year-old teledildonics patent finally expired. And I will take every opportunity to say the word teledildonics that I have. Because it's an amazing word. Teledildonics. Halo introduced a really cool arcade game called Fireteam Raven.
Yeah.
And Blizzard's Shooting Star Overwatch short hit just all the right notes in a really tight package.
And they also announced Mephisto in Here's the Storm.
Nice. And my recommendation this week was a little on the weird side. It was the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color and 3DS Virtual Console.
That made more sense with that follow-up.
Well, I mean, still, I think it's still one of my favorite Pokemon games. It's just so well done, and I wish the sequel had come to North America.
And that episode was called In Your Podcast Feed?
What?
I don't know. And then 211, I did the history of Yakuza.
Yeah, that was good times.
And got to, at the end of it, talk about some news we covered where they leaked the whole game in the beta.
Whoops. Okay, on to another ad. Doing it live. This episode's brought to you in part by the Edmonton Community Foundation and the Well Endowed Podcast. The Edmonton Community Foundation works with donors to establish endowment funds, providing grants to charities and causes in the community. And because only a portion of the fund is granted out, it continues to grow and provide grants in perpetuity. And for a cherry on top, you can hear about some of the passionate people that call Edmonton home and the impact they have on the city in each episode of the Well Endowed Podcast. In the latest episode, 34, they're joined by Trevor Phillips, the founding chair of the UK's Equality and Human Rights Commission, to share his thoughts on integration, the currency of outrage, and why it's important to keep having conversations about race, even if you don't always get it right. You can listen to that over at thewellendowedpodcast.com, and we're encouraging listeners to go... Oh, is the survey still going? I'm not sure. I don't think it is. So
Great.
You can listen to that over at thewellendowedpodcast.com.
And do any survey you see there.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go to thewellendowedpodcast.com/survey, and there is a survey there, they would love it if you filled it out. If there isn't, then bonus more time for yourself. It's a win-win.
And yeah, there's a way for my analytics to do a survey for fans, so I'll put that out on Twitter if I do it in December. Please help us out and do it.
Yeah, please and thank you. We appreciate anything you guys are willing to do for us. Okay, we're into September, home stretch. 2.12, the Master Chief Collection got a huge update with 4K resources and faster load times. And the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was put on hold after Disney caved to the manufactured controversy over director James Gunn's years-old tweets.
Right. Which they already seen because they had to vet him to get him to direct the first two.
It was public knowledge, and he'd already apologized for them, is the worst part. So this was just people that didn't like James Gunn getting him fired.
This isn't my opinion because I don't know about it, but I have heard it's the weaponizing Me Too movement on the opposite side. Some conservatives feel it's their strike back at liberals, but whatever. It's just all silly.
Yeah, it's dumb people being dumb and doing dumb things. And in this episode, I recommended Donut County, which is really fun and charming. Kind of short, but really fun.
So charming. I love the look of that game. The art's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
And we called it Same But More Secure.
Oh, probably for iOS 12.
Got it.
Cool. In episode 213, researchers warned us about Alexa skills using similar-sounding words to sneakily mimic skills and potentially steal information. And Sony muddied the waters even more on why they aren't a part of the cross-console gaming revolution.
Yeah, we called that episode Disc Phone Future.
Right, because you had predictions on what the new iPhone was going to be. And it was a disc phone, which is definitely going to be the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
We decided, yes.
It's still the next phone to come out. And
Definitely.
213, we got to meet Sam for the first time of Level Up Game Escape. And we talked about our experience, getting to see the store in progress.
Good times.
Since then, we've been there, played a bunch of games with Sam. It's great. Looking forward to more.
Yeah. And in that one, I recommended Hollow Knight, which is just like, if you like Rogue Legacy and you like Bloodborne, it's those together.
Yes. If I get Nintendo digital gift cards this Christmas, I'm getting Hollow Knight for sure.
Nice.
Before Stardew Valley.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, I've also played the shit out of Stardew Valley, so.
This is true. In 214, Apple announced their new Watch Series 4 and the iPhones XS and XR. None of which were a disc phone, but we're still holding out.
Yeah, it's still coming.
The Nintendo Direct brought us news on Switch Online, as well as a bunch of upcoming games. And New York City joined Canada in offering X as a gender if you don't identify as M or F, which is just awesome for people that affects.
Yeah. And the Alberta Podcast Network tweeted our episode saying it was the best episode name yet.
Oh?
214 is 0118-999-88199-9119725-3.
I forgot about that one. Oh, I love it. And on that one, I recommended Marvel's Spider-Man on the PS4. Let's see what we have here. On 2/15, Nintendo Switch Online was launched. And I guess we talked about that because that's all my note says.
Yeah, and it's called Online Strings Attached. Because, a lot of strings attached to that Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, it's the cheapest online service, but it's also the least good. So that maps. And Apple seemingly backtracked on their AirPower charging mat promises because it was supposed to be by the end of October, I think. And it's December now, so. And my recommendation this week was your local public library. So technically, more books!
Right after that was episode 216, The History of Fallout. As the hype for Fallout 76 was growing, I thought it was a good time to get that one out there.
Kind of review the roots before you check out the latest game. In 2017, Telltale Games laid off most of its staff and started preparing to shut down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sony started kind of maybe thinking of offering proper cross-platform gaming in a beta once. And researchers found that Facebook is gathering all kinds of sneaky shadow contact information on you that you have no way of deleting. And this one I recommended Electric Bunny Comics, who we met at Edmonton Expo and is great.
Oh, yeah.
218 had Google announcing Project Stream, aimed at high-quality video games in the cloud through your browser. And Harry Potter Magic Awakened was kind of leaked from a weird focus group video, but it looks pretty awesome.
And most importantly, we covered different ways we cook craft dinner, because the episode is called KD Connoisseurs.
Oh yeah, our tips and tricks from the Bachelor crowd. And Bloomberg first released their questionable, at best, report on Chinese spy hardware in Apple and Amazon data centers. That was all the way back in October 6th, and it still hasn't been retracted. And in this one, I recommended the Bring Down Heaven trilogy, another 3 books. So I kind of spent, like, this summer doing things other than books, and then as soon as I got cold out, I'm like, books again, more books. On episode 219, more questions were raised about that Bloomberg story as the evidence against it continued to mount. And James Gunn was picked up by Warner Bros. To direct the next Suicide Squad movie.
Cool.
That could be cool.
Also, Mal'Ganis was added to Heroes of the Storm.
Ooh.
The big old demon boy.
And in this one, I recommended The Queen of Crows by Mike Cole, sequel to The Armored Saint, and also very good.
We called it Special Save File. Must have been because Nintendo released the Legend of Zelda where you have all the stuff.
Yeah, you start off with like most of the items and you can just kind of speedrun it.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 220, the Facebook portal finally came out. You might recall we talked about that like 45 minutes ago. And it turned out to be an even worse idea than we expected, which is kind of saying something for a Facebook camera and microphone always on in your house at all times.
Yeah. They released a clip, a plastic clip that goes over the camera.
Great.
For privacy.
Speaking of privacy, Facebook also had to deal with a massive data breach affecting about 50 million users.
Oh, wow.
So that was cool. And Discord introduced a game subscription service as part of their new Nitro offering.
And somehow we called the episode Take the Shot. Oh, the flu shot.
Right, we were talking about the flu shot, which, I mean, if you haven't gotten by now, what are you doing? Do it. Do it now. It takes a couple weeks to take hold. Do it before you meet up with your gross germ-infested families.
Or do it before you accidentally run into someone who is unable to take the flu shot and gets sick by something you're carrying that you never knew you had.
This is true. I was reading a story about a young cancer patient who had casual contact in a grocery store with someone that had measles, and how it just played hell with her treatment and the treatment of everyone else using that same chemotherapy ward.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And it's just, it's preventable. There's vaccines, there's immunizations. Please do them. If not for yourself, then for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommended Maniac, a series on Netflix. In episode 221, we had even more questions raised about the Bloomberg story, and multiple companies began calling for a full retraction. The Gray Key iPhone hacking tool was officially defeated by an iOS update. It did take a little while, but there was some back and forth there in the middle.
Yeah.
Ticketmaster was hit with a class action lawsuit over unethical scalping practices. And Sony began introducing the ability to change your PlayStation Network ID, but at great cost and greater risk.
We also talked about the Grinch leak, because we thought we saw the rest of the Smash Bros. Roster, and they were talking about Shadow, Banjo-Kazooie, Ken from Street Fighter, Isaac from Golden Sun, Mock Rider, Gino, and the Chorus Kids. Only one of those is correct.
They totally got us with that one.
Oh yeah, it was a really good leak.
Yeah,
fake leak. And then we also coined our new phrase, factgents.
Oh, yeah, we've had a few of those this episode.
When you go off on a tangent to drop a really interesting fact.
Mm-hmm. And I recommended the Shades of Grey Tattoo and Collectibles shop here in Edmonton, and specifically artist Jody Heinrichs at The Littlest Dirtbag on Instagram.
And don't forget to check out Lazy Joel, at Lazy Joel on Instagram, my artist.
Yeah.
My Grievous tattoo he did actually showed up in his feed as a example for his art, and I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
And then right after that, PS2J 222, we did Resident Evil for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun. In 223, Apple finally updated their Mac Minis, along with a new MacBook Air and iPad Pro. And Disney released a new Women of the Galaxy art book featuring strong women in the Star Wars universe, which I'm really hoping I get for Christmas.
Ooh. And we titled the episode How Sakurai Stole Grinchmas, because the actual Smash Direct came out that revealed Ken and Incineroar are coming to Smash. The rest of the features were also revealed, and Piranha Plant.
Yay, Piranha Plant! Woo!
Wild card.
And in this one, I recommended The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. That's another 4 books. In 224, we've got some more detail. In 224, we had some more details on the PlayStation Classic, and while it had some solid features, it seemed a little bare bones. And Blizzard announced Diablo Immortal as a mobile game, and sparked their very own meme when they responded to shock and confusion with, quote, "Do you guys not have phones?"
Yeah, we called that episode Blizz and Not So BlizzCon. We also got Orphea announced as a original character coming to Heroes of the Storm.
Oh yeah, that's right around the time when I just kind of fell off playing PC games and went back on my console. Whoops.
Yeah. It's always going to be there, and it's free.
This is true. And I recommended the movie Mandy, which was just peak Nicolas Cage. Very good.
Oh, back in PS2J 217, your friend Soldier Privacy, Experience Points, who we've recommended in the past, released their first album.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's great.
I bought it for $13.37.
Excellent. In 225, we bade Stan Lee a fond farewell. And the EU introduced new copyright measures, namely Article 13, which could hamstring content sharing sites like YouTube and Reddit. And my recommendation that week was Train to Busan on Netflix.
Oh,
I think that's my favorite zombie movie now.
Yeah. Second for me.
That's fair. I'm guessing Shaun of the Dead?
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
225, Excelsior.
In 226, romaine lettuce was involved in another E. coli fiasco, and it's still not safe to eat as of recording.
That's why I just don't eat salad.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can still eat, like, arugula and kale and iceberg and all the other leafy things, just not romaine, for some reason.
I have chicken salad, so it's like chicken and mayo and bacon bits.
Is there any green in there at all?
If it's been left in the fridge too long.
Nailed it. Okay, perfect. There you go. Healthy. Warframe hit the Switch with some weird limitations on how you bring your account over.
Yeah. And also... and I was going to say also an MMO needing internet made the episode titled Portable somewhat. Yeah,
it's like you can totally take it anywhere as long as you have Wi-Fi. So, I don't know, your bathroom. You can play it in your bathroom. That's actually a decent draw. And Nintendo announced that there are officially no plans for an N64 Classic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And my recommendation was for Beat Saber on PSVR, which has damn near replaced my rower as my daily workout. It's really good.
I've had a lot of fun with the little bit I got to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then 227 is our last of the year history episode with Super Smash Bros.
Well, I do have to correct you there. Our last episode this year will be 228,
What?
in which we actually talked about the highlights from our 2018, and we've got some interesting numbers and statistics for the year coming up after the plugs.
Yeah. I did say history episode of the year.
Oh,
I
fair,
think.
fair.
And this is our last episode of the year.
That thing I just said.
And
That's
hey,
all the episodes.
if you have a friend that loves lists of articles to then listen to, recommend this episode to them. Like it. Share it.
It's just kind of a trip down memory lane. But yeah, seriously, any kind of ratings or reviews on whatever podcasting platform you listen on, it just helps a lot with our visibility, gets us out there and to more ears.
Mm-hmm. And then also, as always, a huge thanks to the Alberta Podcast Network for having us to be a part of it, and also being the Alberta Podcast Network powered by ATB, which is what I meant to say. Thanks. It's so awesome.
Yeah. You can check out a ton of awesome people at albertapodcastnetwork.com.
And we're having a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Which
and if
we're going to be
drop
at when this episode's live. Interesting.
This is true. And if you ever want to drop us a line, we're at PS2J Show everywhere. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Gmail, ps2jshow.com, which has links to our Discord, our Patreon, all over the place.
And depending on how creative I got, every other episode, and maybe some in this, the music is by Kevin MacLeod. Find him at incomptech.com, or he's just the soundtrack of the internet. He's everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So, before we leave you all hanging for the month of December and come back the first Saturday of January, let's go to some interesting stats from the year of podcasting.
So, before we get to raw download numbers, my recommends for the year, as an overview: 5 phone apps, 11 things on Netflix, 1 being a double, 2 things on Amazon Prime, 4 board games, 5 video games, 5 podcasts, and then 10 miscellaneous.
I've got...
And the weirdest miscellaneous being Quaker Super Grain with oats, barley, rye, flax, and quinoa.
Right.
Apple cinnamon.
Oh, yeah, you recommended grocery store oatmeal. I forgot about that.
And then we both recommended Black Panther in
that was a
episode
very
180.
good movie. My recommendations were, let's see, 1 each for a band, a piece of technology, a music video, and a local store here in Edmonton. I've got 2 apps, 4 podcasts, 4 movies, 7 things to watch on Netflix, 8 video games, and a grand total of 33 books, plus your local library. So I guess infinite books, all of the books.
Well, there's 11 months we do podcasts, times 3-ish episodes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And for free games of the month, we've informed everybody about a total of 182 free
Nice.
games through this year.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Which is, oddly enough, what PS2J 182 is called Things to Come.
Oh.
And now, our downloads of episodes released this year. Within 90 days, we're trending up from usual, and we have 2,587 downloads.
Damn. Good job, fans.
Yeah. How do people listen to us? Well, iTunes stats go, number 1 is iPhone, number 2 is iTunes on a Mac computer, and number 3 is iTunes on a PC.
Bold choice.
Other sources, number 1 is unknown source.
Fair.
By a massive margin. And
Yeah.
then number 2 is Mozilla Windows, and number 3 is Mozilla Linux.
I'm guessing that unknown is just like
Every
Overcast,
app. Yeah.
Podbean, all the Breaker, all that stuff.
So where are people listening to PS2J? Top 10? And by a big margin, 1 and 2, it goes Canada and US, United States.
Fair.
Number 3, Sweden. 4,
Oh.
Israel. 5, Germany. 6, Australia. 7, Belarus. 8, Brazil. 9, Japan. And 10, China.
Wow, there's a lot of people in non-English speaking countries listening to us. So thanks a ton for listening, and I mean, we'd love if you drop us a line and let us know like what has you interested, what drew you
Yeah.
in? Because
And-
I'm curious.
Are you just sitting there paid by your government to listen to all the podcasts, make sure we don't talk bad about you? Like, what's happening?
Well, yeah, I mean, we already failed that with China, I guess, but
Number 4, Israel.
yeah.
So I also have a list of the 10 one-and-done countries.
Oh,
These countries downloaded 1 episode this year and nothing else.
whoops.
We're looking
Must have done
at-
something to piss them off.
We're looking at you, Denmark, Morocco, Cambodia, Portugal, Italy, South Africa, Switzerland, Dominican Republic, Norway, and New Zealand.
I almost wonder if those are like people going on vacation and they hit Wi-Fi and it downloads an episode.
Yeah, no idea.
Because it's so weird to just download 1 episode of a podcast.
Mm-hmm. I know. Strangest stat I found, on November 23rd, Sweden downloaded 378 items.
Whoa. Thank you, Sweden.
Besides a few episodes that were downloaded multiple times, it looks like they downloaded 1 of everything we had.
Nice. Okay, so just pulled a full library for future listening. I can dig it. That's what I do.
And how did each month go? We're going January. Our highest episode was Frames of Freedom 173 for 64 downloads. Our Super Mario episode got 75 downloads. 75.
Nice.
I feel like I said that too weird. February 179, but are they Muppets? 75 downloads. No gaming history on February. I think I was sick. That sounds right.
Yeah, wasn't that the month that I did a solo episode? It is.
Yeah.
I did 178 solo.
And then March 181 Redacted Farm, 73 downloads. And then Virtua Fighter that month got 44.
Cool.
189 Pro Fridge Tip, 57 downloads. And then the gaming episode Indie Games got 76.
It's always interesting to see like when the most downloaded one isn't the first one of the month. So it's clearly like an actual trend and not just date related.
And then May 193 Press Start to Join Online Podcast Service is our second most downloaded episode at 244 downloads this year.
Damn.
And then God of War got 111 downloads. Still
Nice.
good. I'm happy when it's not 0.
Yeah, if anyone's listening, that's fantastic.
June, PS2J 202 came in like a hamster, has by far the most downloads of any episode we've ever produced, and I don't know why.
Really?
471 downloads.
Damn. Awesome.
And then PS2J 201, Halo the Bungie Era, got 67 downloads. July, our third best downloaded episode is the Halo Retrospective featuring Foam Forge cosplay with 208.
Nice.
Then the Gaming History episode, Halo 343 Takes Over, 194. So, really good month for us. August, Super Free Games, PS2J 208 got 50 downloads. And then PS2J 211, Yakuza, which is the first gaming history I made a custom image for. We got 125 downloads.
That's awesome.
September 217, Your Friend Soldier Privacy, 83 downloads. And then I'm going to thank Shimei-pan on Instagram, because she was so kind enough to give us a Instagram post and a story, because our Fallout episode got 203 downloads,
Nice.
making it our 4th most downloaded podcast.
That's awesome.
And then October, Take the Shot, 220, got 70 downloads. Resident Evil got 54. And then last month, it's days away, so it's tough for this month.
This is true.
Blizz and Not So BlizzCon, 47. Smash Bros. Within 1 day of recording, 22 downloads. So I feel that's the core fan base.
Yeah, that's fair. Those are really cool numbers.
Yeah, which makes me think, why aren't there 22 people in our Discord? Get in our Discord.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure there's a link on every single podcast link at ps2jshow.com.
Yep.
You can just come chat with us.
And then, of course, any social media, which we mentioned earlier, say, I want in the Discord, and you're in.
Yeah, definitely. It's a low barrier of entry.
And whoops, this episode went long.
Yeah, I mean, if you've stuck with us all the way to the end, thank you so much for giving us this amazing year of podcasting. We could not do what we do without you.
Yeah. It's definitely gives us a drive to continue. Mm-hmm. Because it's fun to do it, and it's rewarding in its own right, but just to have people saying they get it, they enjoy it, makes it so much better.
Definitely. It's a really cool thing to do, and yeah, like the fan collective makes it all so much better to do, so much more fun, so much more meaningful.
And as always, thank you so much for listening.
And thanks for pressing start.